I have been reflecting on the powers of visualization and intention. Reflecting, insofar as I've been thinking about it, I've been pondering it. Reflecting, insofar as I've been peering into reflections which reality has been offering me with relation to these powers of the human soul. More specifically, I have been intending, I have been praying, I have been reflectively conjuring a more intentional and divinely aligned visual relationship with my heart, or visualized rather, such that I've been using my mind and my soul and my intention and my prayer to visualize and intentionalize a particular relationship with my heart, which is the life essence of my being in this body. What I mean by this, in a very more simplified sense, is just visualizing and intentionalizing and feeling that which I want, that which I need for my heart to feel safe, warm, loved, appreciated, held, nourished, and amplified. And like planting little seeds of how I want my heart to feel and what I want to offer my heart. Now, the heart is a reality generation field. So much as my heart is the life essence, life-giving organ, life-breathing principle of my body, of my microcosm, so too does it toroidally flow into my outer reality. So that the prayers, the visualizations, and the intentions which I weave with mind and soul and harmonious homeostasis into my heart then flow toroidally into reality to reflect back to me who I am, what my heart is, how my heart feels, and what my heart desires. Now, this is not merely the heart. The body is a multidimensional and multifaceted, multi-layered emanation of all kinds of organs and energies, which are all at play within this reality generation. But here specifically, I'm speaking to and from the heart. So, in my visualized and intentional relating to my heart, insofar as I am planting these visualizations and intentions into my heart, because my heart generates my reality on behalf of God, for God, the seeds, the intentions, the prayers, the visualizations which I place into my heart, then I place into reality itself. Now, I spoke of the men's gathering that I went to, and I'm just now realizing this. That I carry a lot of anger towards the evils and iniquities of this realm. The parasitism, the imbalances, the misalignments, the egregious heartlessness that so many human beings embody toward themselves and one another in the macrocosmic currents of war, but also in the microcosmic little interactions of heartlessness and mindlessness and soullessness and just distraction and reality that just feels so empty and dead and soulless. It makes me angry. And from that anger, which admittedly is a wounded anger, because this hurts, this is painful to see, the state of depravity that this world finds itself in. There are sometimes darker, more shadowy depths that emerge. Discourses like, this needs to end, this needs to die. My lightning strikes need to put these things to death. Putting to death is synonymous with other terms which within the realms of morality, of being good, of seeking goodness. One must ask himself, is that truly what I want? Is that truly what God would want? Is that truly the highest of divine alignments? This anger, this desire to destroy. I will be raw and vulnerable and speak of putting to death as an act of killing, where there is this conflict, where if I am to be a warrior of peace, then I should kill my desire to kill. There is a need to put to death the desire to put to death. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not getting lost in some mind mazes. The point here is that certain visualizations and intentionalizations, which I have been uncovering in my angers, in my pains, in my wounds, have been subtly, because of their lack of integration, weaving a particular kind of relating to my heart, which in my microcosmic reality generation field then feeds the very realities which I condone as evil, which I wish to banish, which I wish to put to an end. When I see certain mechanistic, militarized vehicles in the air that try to make their false presence known, I get angry. And I mirror back to myself and I feel within myself the very roots of that reflection. The desire for war itself on earth. The reason why human beings are trapped in these self-cyclical spirals of mutual destruction, of vengeance, of bloodlust, of injustice and iniquity. Why does war exist? It is because of these wounds of anger, which then weave themselves into the visualizing and intentionalizing capacities of our minds and our souls, which weave themselves into our hearts and then microcosmically generate a gigantic war field to mirror back to us how we are at war with ourselves. There are parts of me that I do not accept. There are parts of me that I might even say that I hate, that I despise, that I want to banish to darkness, that I wish would just go away for eternity. And I've been confronting these parts of myself. Much as these parts of myself in their repressions, have been subtly weaving themselves into my prayers and my visualizations and my intentions in my relatings to my own heart, so that my reality then mirrors back to me the very things which I hate. Does all that make sense? Do I need to slow down? I hear one of those military helicopters. To simplify, when you repress your shadow, it may fester and then find its way into your visualized intentionalizations, weave into your heart, and then weave into your reality. So, I have spoken of that which I have confronted and am confronting, and is now unraveling in my life in the form of reflections, thoughts, and reflective relating. And I am at a stage where I am trying to rewire intentionally, willfully, prayerfully, this visualized, intentionalized way of relating to my heart as reality generation field, and thus to my reality. Here meaning that I have been practicing, in a more simplistic way, the art of affirmation, of speaking to my heart in particular ways, to say, instead of, I am angry with my situation, I am tired of living like this, instead of saying things like this, I say things like, I am worthy of my desires, I am worthy of my needs being met. My heart is worthy of being loved and held and nourished, and of feeling safe to expand and express and expel illusions to make space for truth. These are my lightning strikes. Not anything that needs to go and fight and destroy, though there will be some fighting and destruction involved in the lightning storms coming and the floods coming, but more gentle. Where is this? Oh man. Loving lightning. There's one of those military choppers that's coming my way yet again to test how real and tangible I live these words which I speak, such that it is not necessarily lightning of destruction and demise which I call forth, but loving lightning, which very slowly and gently dissolves. They're really testing my capacity here and shining a light my way. Just one moment. It's as if they could quite literally feel the discourse and the dialogue that is happening here, and so they had to enter and make their presence known to test. It's absolutely ridiculous, this reality. So, where was I? Instead of fighting and resisting, turning my gaze inward, turning my lightning bolts inward, and turning my anger into loving catharsis, breathed phonetically through the power of language, of breath, of logos. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. To weave love through the Word, through the breath, into the breath, into the eros, into the pathos, into the epicenter of pain, which carries the anger, which holds the anger, which releases the anger when it is allowed, when it is invited to, when it is softened. So, within my reflections, within my inquiries, within my meanderings through this interweaving of inner and outer reality, I have reached the stage where reality is very much reflecting back to me that I'm almost there. I have been seeking through this power to manifest in new housing situations. And on 3 occasions, back to back, almost directly following practices of visualized, intentionalized, prayerful speaking and communication to my heart. This is what I want. This is what I'm calling forth. Please generate this mirror, this space which will hold me in reality, in real time space continuum. And then the mirror that is reflected back to me is 3 housing situations where it's like, oh, you're almost there, but it's just falling through your fingertips. 1 housing situation, oh, this other person just got it. You would have been perfect for this. Oh, this other person just got it. You would have been perfect for this. Twice. And here on a 3rd account, oh, I'm going to have to cancel this. There's still a possibility that it might go through, but it's leaning towards cancellation. And so I'm sitting with this reflection, asking, what is happening? What am I doing that is like almost there, but not quite? And instead of getting all angry and discouraged, which those scripts have emerged, they have, and the patterns, they have emerged to present themselves as feeling, to say, this still needs to be perceived, this still needs to be felt, this still needs to be processed, this still needs to be integrated, this still needs to be heard, witnessed, seen, and then breathed into wholeness once again. So instead of getting angry, instead of clinging to these old patterns, instead of clinging to the reality falsification tunnels, or instead of clinging to the insecurity, instead of clinging to the perpetuation of the reality generation which I do not want, of the visualizations and intentionalizations of war with the world, of struggle, of fighting, of anger, of repressed rage, of sadness, of sorrow, of pain, of wounds. I am choosing to slowly, surely, assuredly, with assurance, with truth, with softness, with breath, with incantations, with magic, with prayer, with alignment with the divine, to softly say, I recognize this old script, I recognize this old pattern, I recognize the ways in which these weave into reality generation to then reflect back to me that which I am stuck in. And I choose with my breath, with my words, with my sovereign will, with my alignment with God, to rewrite the affirmations, to rewrite the logos breaths, which I breathe into my heart, into my reality, to plant new seeds, to pull the weeds and plant new seeds, that my reality may burgeon into flowers, into the sumptuous, sensuous safety of needs and desires fully met, rather than repressed, ignored, thrown out, cast away. Does all this make sense? So that when the reflections come back and it's not quite there, rather than an invitation to anger and chaos and more of the same, it is simply an invitation to refine my prayer, to refine my intentionalization, to refine my visualizations, to put more disciplined effort and work into the waters. Into the waters of my soul. Into the waters with which I water my heart, my garden, and the seeds which I have planted. As I said, I'm getting sand in my eyes. I did not say this, but now I'm saying it because it's happening. As I said, this is an ecosystem. This is not merely the heart. Every part of your body, every part of your multidimensional microcosm and multi-layered being will come to speak and to play and to breathe and to interplay in this reality-generating dialogue. It's a two-way and multi-way path where you speak and you listen, and you speak and you listen. And if you don't listen, then you might speak the same realities into being, and that's when you loop and you remain stuck. Come unstuck. Throw lightning strikes of love at your own heart in the form of prayer breaths. And your reality will then reflect back to you your own reflections. It feels like this is what I've come here to say today. There's one more thing that wants to come through. That this is a way also of relating to your shadows, to the parts of you which you hate, to the parts of you which you repress, to the parts of you which not only you are at war with, but which then feed and sustain and narrativize and realize, as in generate reality, into war on the micro, macro, cosmic playing field of our reality. War. There are flames in a particular land right now that is very, very widely seen on the world stage. War. This is a reflection of our inner world. And a brother named Eisen calls Israel the throat chakra of our reality. I don't know if that's true or not. But how does this pertain to voice and to our expression if it is true? Regardless, when we repress, when we wish to banish when we relate to our own hearts and to any parts of ourselves with hatred, with lack of acceptance, with lack, then this reflects back to us through our reflections and reflections. Always, 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 God is here for support. God is here to guide. This is not something that you do alone. This is not something that you do full force, willfully forced of your own will, without God, separate from God. Without God, you will achieve nothing. Without God, all of this is void and nil. In your prayers, in your visualizations, in your intentionalizations, call forth God to assist you. Call forth God to communicate with you. And I speak of God, the word God, as the transcendental, all-loving presence, source of our creation, creator of our reality. I'm not speaking dogmatically. If you have another word for the sacred creator of our reality, then perhaps that is what works for you. I use the word God because I know who God is. Which is the punctuation which I will bring to this transmission. That through God, all of this and all things are possible. And all of your visualizations and intentionalizations and your heart's desires are possible. But only with God. Without God, ow! It's dust in your eyes and then you're blinding yourself. Ridiculous. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you. I love you. And may this be a prayer within my realm and within your realm, so that within my realm, my heart's needs and desires may be met, that this prayer be spoken aloud and witnessed intersubjectively by other prayerful beings. If you feel like assisting with a prayer rooted in your heart and breath, it is appreciated. Simply being witnessed, the act of seeing and being seen, amplifies a prayer. And my prayer is that your prayers for your reality and for your heart's needs and desires and for the integration and loving healing of your shadows and the parts of yourself which you are less content with, which you might be in more harmful relating with, that you may give these things love. And then these will amplify into your reality, which will then amplify into our reality in the co-creative field of our being. And lastly, I will say, if you've made it this far, write your prayer in the comments. Write your visualizations, your intentionalizations. Put them down there and I will see them and it will amplify to be seen in that way. I will leave it at that. Thank you. I love you. And love, 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 proliferate. Bring peace to our realm. Eradicate war very simply with softness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.